My name is Rick Selan. I am a stutterer who is doing my best to get through this presentation to present what is really going on in LAUSD special education against low-income, underrepresented minority students. I am an LAUSD whistleblower who faces daily retaliation for having a voice for low-income, underrepresented minority Title I special education students. The LAUSD Good Old Boys and Girls Club, an organization who places adult interests and egos before the rights of students, continues to this day. After being a successful 22-year Mark Twain Union Chair and Math Department Chair, I had no choice but to blow the whistle on less than accountability and less than ethics on those who place special education students as separate and not equal. I have been falsely arrested for working on behalf of special education kids who need a voice. The tactics used against special education students are deplorable, and to the most part, movies could not go into the tactics used by LAUSD to get back at parents and special education children to deny them service. I can remember clearly when the former District 3 Special Education Director, Linda Dinnerstein, sat at an IEP table in Westchester and gave the parent and the child the finger in order to try to get everyone angry. Why did she do this? It was an attempt to block the principal from giving testimony that she promised to provide special education services in PE to a learning disabled 5th grader who was born without peace. Mark Twain's special education teacher Ruth Cassell is given permission by special education compliance to stand at the door of an IEP and with her body on numerous occasions to use her body as a blockade by spreading her arms and legs, blocking access to those low-income, underrepresented minority special education students and parents, to block the IEP from happening, no different than the 1960s when governors in the South denied African-American students the right to enter a university. In this case, when access was denied to J. Sean Covington, a child with a heart transplant, by these tactics, using her body to block his IEP, he was forced out of LAUSD and forced to attend an inferior charter school, based on lack of supervision and lack of monitoring at this less than adequate charter. J. Sean walked out of school one afternoon and dropped dead of a fatal heart attack as he was awaiting his second heart transplant. These terrorist attacks continue today to low-income, underrepresented minority special education students, including arrest against two 11- and 12-year-old 7th grade students for robbery or extortion. Why? Because the girls asked their friend for a $1 bill for chips. It just happens that the ones who reported this were two special education teachers and administrators and or assistants at the school. I can go on for hours, but it is important that the public hear from a Hispanic parent leader whose children have been retaliated against because their dad has a voice.
Okay, I'll introduce Frederico.
I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Frederico Ceballos, a parent at Mark Twain, who is president of the Mark Twain CEAC and works with Hispanic-speaking parents so they could better understand what's going on in education at Mark Twain.
I'm going to go back a little further. Can you get down a little bit further?
Go ahead and sit on this.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's have the interview, guys. Yes, interview Frederico.
Oh, I would like to introduce Mr. Frederico Ceballos, the Mark Twain Chair of the CEAC, Compensatory Education, Title I, who is a strong Hispanic leader who is going through his own nightmare with his children.
Hi, my name is Frederico. Yes, I am the chairperson for CEAC at Mark Twain Middle School. I'm also the representative for SSE, which is the School Site Council at Local District 3. Both of my kids have been basically punished. They have been punished through the Mr. Cartberry. It all began with Mr. Cartberry.
Who's Mr. Cartberry?
Mr. Cartberry is the dean, ex-dean of Mark Twain Middle School.
So what did Mr. Cartberry do?
My son got beat up. It all started when I used to translate for the parents and students. The parents that didn't speak English would ask me to come in and help them translate. And I was translating for two students that were basically charged with sexual harassment at the time. After those two, helping those two different parents, Mr. Cartberry basically, for some reason, didn't like me.
To the best of my understanding, Mr. Cartberry is an New York policeman who basically has had tendencies to explode at parents and children.
Yes.
Have you experienced any of this?
Yes, I experienced it firsthand when I was translating for those two parents. The first time he basically was very verbally abusive towards me just because I was translating. He told the parents that you either take what I'm giving to you as punishment, or I'm going to go ahead and have the father file charges against you because he's also a police officer. And that's on one case. The other case, it was the special ed person that was taking care of the kid that had gotten in trouble first. That was also accused of sexual harassment. And he also became very irritated and screamed at me personally, thinking that I was not translating the right way. So that's how everything started. That's how the nightmare started for me and for my children at Mark Twain Middle School.
So after that nightmare, how did the school continue their means of retaliation?
Mr. Cartberry, when my son got beat up by three youngsters after telling the teacher that these kids like to beat up other students in the bathroom, either at lunchtime or after recess and stuff like that. My son got beat up by them. The dean never actually filed. I went to file a report with the dean, but the dean never filed a report. He asked me to wait in the attendance office. The incident happened around 1:15 in the afternoon. And Mr. Cartberry left the school grounds at 3:15. At 3:15, I went to the main office to ask where his whereabouts, and he was nowhere to be found.
Well, LAUSD has a practice of if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist, and it appears that you and your children have been exposed to this type of treatment where nothing is written, but the terrorist tactics and the viciousness continues.
It continues to this day, also with my daughter, who was accused of robbery or extortion of a dollar from a dollar bill from a friend to buy some chips.
And what happened? Why did they arrest your daughter for asking her friend for $1?
My daughter tells me that they didn't do anything wrong, other than they were just basically asking their friend for $1, and they basically booked my daughter and her friend, her friend's 11 years old. My daughter is 12 years old. I never got a phone call while all of this was going on at school. The girls get out at 3:05 in the afternoon. I didn't get a call until 4:25, and I was basically attending a meeting for the PICO Youth and Family Center in Santa Monica, and I was meeting with the director, with Selena Rodriguez at that center, when I got the phone call It was a very disturbing phone call because the new dean, which is Mr. Quinn, is the one that called me, and I asked him if are you the one that arrested my daughter? He said, no, I'm not the one that arrested your daughter. It was the police that arrested your daughter. The communication cut off, but I knew exactly where to go to pick up my daughter, which is a Pacific Division.
Were police hesitant in doing the arrest, or they were just going to arrest your daughter for robbery or extortion of a dollar bill, or did they receive some type of direction?
The direction that this is when I got to the station, I found out that the Officer Johnson did not want to arrest.
LAUSD police?
Yes, LAU police did not. Mr. Johnson did not want to arrest the girls. He numerously told the vice principal, Ms. Bird, that he did not want to do that. That they were minor children, and it was against the law what they were trying to do. But when I got to the police station, Officer Johnson is the one that was telling me this. He did not want the girls arrested. Ms. Bird is the one that kept pushing the parent to file charges against the two girls. Again, my daughter is 12 years old. The other girl is only 11 years old, and they were charged in both.
And if I could remember the story correctly, wasn't the 11-year-old girl, it's kind of a heroic story. She told the police she was 12,
yes,
because she didn't want her friend to go to jail alone.
Very true. Both of them basically. My daughter didn't know that Triana was going to actually say that she was 12, but she did say that she was 12 years old, just to be together throughout the process. They didn't want to be alone. They were so scared that they did not want to be alone.
What's happened in the last week when your daughter was supposed to have a suspension conference after her arrest?
We had a conference, and the conference with Mr. Quinn, the new dean at Mark Twain Middle School, she went back to school at 8 o'clock in the morning like she was supposed to. And I went to the appointment at 11 o'clock in the morning. But my daughter was actually not supposed to be there until 11 o'clock. This is what the dean tells me at the time. But my daughter was basically sitting in an office for 3 hours and was not allowed to make a phone call by the new dean, Mr. Quinn. He did not allow her to make a phone call to me to let me know to come and pick her up and to wait until 11 o'clock.
And I think what's more interesting is that no one is sharing the credentials of Mr. Quinn. So we don't know who this new dean is, and how he arrived, or why he arrived, and why administration is covering this up. This advocate had no choice but to file a CPRA, public records request, to find out what are the credentials of this dean who has been anything but fair with Mr. Ceballos' kids.
That's true. I asked the same question, what are his credentials? I did ask Ms. Carol Larissa at Mark Twain Middle School, and she basically told me that he is not funded by Title I money, so the money doesn't come from Title I money. But
so she's not allowed to put this agenda item on the calendar, even though you've requested it as chair of the CEAC.
That's correct. That was because it doesn't have anything to do supposedly with Title I money, and he is the person that basically at the meeting told me that nothing else could be done for my daughter.
Well, didn't he? I want to just make it clear to the public, okay, that these kind of LAUSD special education horror stories occur on a daily basis, be it in Palisades, be it in South Central, be it in Venice, or be it in the South Bay. I hope we were able to convey a picture of what's inside LAUSD.